Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan, also the North Central Chaplain for Broken Chains JC. It is a beautiful Saturday, and I should be out riding, and the wind blew all the leaves out of the tree last night. And so if I don't get it cleaned up now, I may not get it cleaned up. I'll do what I need to do, and I'll trust God for the rest. But I'll use the day the way it needs to get used. Whether that's getting on the bike and going for a ride, or if that's working here in the shop, preparing my sermon, mowing the lawn, taking the air conditioners out. I've got a lot of stuff that needs to get done. And I got 24 hours just like you do, and sometimes it doesn't all fit. And so you take care of the priorities that have to be taken care of and trust that the rest will work themselves out. Be willing to give up what it is that you might really want to do for the things that need to be done today. That's kind of what our Christian walk is like, isn't it? Being willing to give up the things we want because of what's right. This morning as I was reading in Proverbs chapter 28, because it is October 28th, 2023, and I read this in verse 13. The one who conceals his sin will not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces them will find mercy. Everybody wants to confess their sins. They want the healing that James tells us about in James 5:16. Therefore confess your sins to one another and pray for one another so that you may be healed. And we stop with that. But the verse from 15 all the way through 16 reads this: the prayer of faith will save the sick person, and the Lord will restore him to health. If he has committed sin, he will be forgiven. Therefore confess your sins to one another and pray for one another so that you may be healed. The urgent request of a righteous person is very powerful, and it is effective. And the reality is, we want what we want, and we're willing to do a little bit. But we're not necessarily willing to do everything. You'll hear a truth, and you'll say, that's really good. I know it's true. I confess that as truth. And it changes absolutely nothing in our lives. The verse I read for you out of Proverbs, Solomon says this: the one who conceals sins will not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces them will find mercy. You see, we can agree all we want, but unless we change something, it has no effect. Guys, the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective, but when you confess your sins, you've got a part to play in that. Confessing your sins doesn't change the problem. Confessing your sins and renouncing them makes the difference. When I started my recovery walk, I knew that Jesus forgave me. 1 John 1:9. I knew it. But I didn't feel any healing. I knew that I had to confess my sins, and I would, but I never felt healing. It wasn't until I actually renounced them, and not say I'm not going to do it anymore. Renounce them means I'm not going to do it anymore, that I found healing. You have the opportunity, but you have a part to play. And running away from your part leaves you outside the kingdom. The one who conceals his sin will not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces them will find mercy. Guys, life can change in major ways, but you got to play your part. I love y'all. Hope you have a great day. God bless.